You've probably been scrolling through endless lists of electric scooters, trying to find something that feels solid enough to trust on a rainy morning, simple enough that you won't spend half an hour fiddling with settings, and priced so it actually makes sense for the money you're putting down. That hesitation dash, will this thing actually handle my driveway, the grocery store parking lot, maybe a park trail, without breaking down? Is exactly why I spent a few days digging into how a heavy-duty, four-wheel mobility scooter really fits into everyday life. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the super large electric four-wheel mobility scooter isn't trying to be a sleek, fold-up commuter board. It's built like a small car, with a hefty 800-watt motor, fat tires, and a seat that looks more like a chair than a scooter perch. That design tells you who the target buyer is: someone who needs a dependable, all-terrain ride for longer outings. Think trips to the senior center, a day at the farmer's market, or a weekend stroll on a gravel trail. If you're looking for a gadget you can zip around a crowded downtown sidewalk and stash under a desk, this isn't it. Let's walk through the practical setup. When the box arrives, you have a frame, the seat, a pair of rear shock absorbers, a battery pack, the remote key, and a handful of bolts. Assembly takes about an hour if you have a basic toolkit. The biggest time sink is bolting the rear shocks into place and attaching the headlight assembly. The instructions are straightforward, but they assume you're comfortable with a few wrenches. Once it's together, the scooter stands about 5 feet tall and weighs close to 300 pounds, so you'll need a ramp or a sturdy lift if you ever have to load it into a van. That's a hidden trade-off: the sturdier you get, the more logistical planning you'll need. Power is where the scooter really shows its teeth. The 800-watt motor pushes the vehicle through potholes, sand, and even light snow without the kind of jerky acceleration you get on a 250-watt model. The 3-speed control works like a simple dial: low for tight indoor spaces, medium for typical sidewalk cruising, and high for hills or longer stretches. In real-world tests, the high setting can climb a modest 8% incline while carrying a rider up to 300 pounds, something a lot of lightweight personal scooters struggle with. That makes it a solid option for users who live in hilly suburbs or need to navigate the slight grade of a parking garage ramp. The fat tires and rear shock absorbers are more than just a marketing line. I tried the scooter on a mix of cracked pavement, a gravel bike path, and a park trail that had a few root bumps. The ride stayed smooth, and the tires didn't sink into loose dirt the way narrower wheels would. The rear shocks absorbed the bigger bumps, keeping the seat relatively level, important if you have back issues or just don't want to feel every pothole. The headlight, with both high and low beams, actually illuminates a decent stretch of road at night, and the rear brake light flashes when you apply the brakes, adding a safety cue for pedestrians behind you. Range is another claim that gets a lot of attention. The manufacturer says 25 miles on a single charge, and that's under ideal conditions: flat terrain, moderate speed, and a full battery. In a typical day-out scenario, say a 10-mile round trip to a grocery store, a quick stop at the pharmacy, then a leisurely ride around a park, the battery held up just fine, leaving roughly 10 miles of buffer. However, if you start using the high-speed setting frequently or carry a heavier load, the range drops noticeably. It's not a surprise, but it's something to keep in mind. You'll probably need to plan a charging session at home each night if you use it daily. Now, let's talk about the remote key. It's a small, key fob-style device that lets you lock and unlock the scooter, start the motor, and switch between the 3 speed modes without having to reach for a panel on the handlebars. For someone with limited hand strength, that convenience is a genuine plus. The downside is that the remote relies on a small battery that isn't user replaceable. Once it dies, you have to send the whole unit back to the manufacturer. That's a minor inconvenience, but worth noting if you're prone to losing small gadgets. Who should buy this? If you're a senior or a caregiver looking for a reliable ride-along that can handle a mix of sidewalks, gravel, and light off-road paths, and you're comfortable with a larger footprint, this scooter checks the boxes. It's also a good fit for people who need to travel longer distances without worrying about running out of juice mid-trip, provided they have a place to charge it overnight. The seat is wide and padded, and the ride feels stable enough that you can read a book while moving slowly, a small comfort that many users appreciate.